Christine Brennan is one of the best sports writers in the country, has been for a long time.
Christine Brennan just exposed the WNBA in a major way.
Christine Brennan just lit the WNBA on fire. In her new book, On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, she accuses league bosses of fumbling the single greatest marketing gift women's basketball has ever received. How bad is the faceplant? National TV audiences for Indiana Fever games cratered by roughly 40%. During the 5-game stretch, Clark sat with a quad injury, and the league is still scrambling to plug that gaping revenue hole. The numbers she marshals are brutal. In 2023, Indiana averaged barely 4,000 fans per home date. One season later, Clark dragged that figure to more than 17,000.
From home, like everybody else. And I think, guys, that actually helped me understand as a journalist the fascination, because I've covered a lot over my career and been very fortunate to be at Wimbledon's and Super Bowls and Tiger Woods and you name it, I've covered it. And I'm so lucky to have done that. And I found myself fascinated, who is this? And I'm getting text messages from guys who would never have watched a second of women's basketball. Good guys. They want their daughters to play sports. Good people.
And forced rival franchises to relocate games to NBA arenas just to squeeze everyone in. Yet somehow, instead of throwing a ticker tape parade, WNBA leadership treated the Iowa phenom like an inconvenient spotlight. That contradiction is what Brennan calls the Caitlin paradox. A star so huge, she rescued an entire league from niche obscurity, yet so polarizing she drew more flagrant fouls than any other player. 5 in a single season, nearly 17% of every flagrant whistle blown across the WNBA. She didn't write the book as a hot take hit piece.
The thing I don't get, Christine, is that in the case of Tiger and in the case of Jordan, the other players and the league around them, in Tiger's case, the PGA Tour, realized that a rising tide raises all boats and were incredibly supportive of Tiger and Jordan. With Caitlin, it seems like, for whatever reason, she's polarizing.
She wrote it because the disconnect was too loud to ignore, and the deeper she dug, the worse the story got. Brennan has covered every Olympics since 1984. She's interviewed global icons from Tiger Woods to Serena Williams. When she calls something the biggest blown opportunity of my career, people listen. Her reporting reveals that on the very morning Clark declared for the 2020-24 draft, a senior league official flatly compared her to Maya Moore. A legend, yes, but hardly a mass-market tidal wave. That offhand remark signaled the larger problem.
It came out what she had to say in this book was going to shake the ground of the WNBA. She's been around for a very long time, and she knows the inner and outer workings of this league. Christine Brennan let it be known in multiple interviews that the WNBA was not ready for a superstar like Caitlin Clark.
League HQ still thought in boutique scales, while Clark was about to go stadium size. Brennan's manuscript is stacked with internal emails, attendance spreadsheets, and a quote from civil rights icon Dr. Harry Edwards, urging Commissioner Kathy Engelbert to educate veterans fast or brace for backlash. HQ never took him up on it. Within weeks of Clark's preseason debut, ticket brokers were charging NBA-level prices. Nike had burned through its first jersey shipment in hours, and a sold-out signature Wilson basketball vanished in under 40 minutes.
Caitlin Clark is way more important to the WNBA than Tiger Woods was to men's golf, even though he was huge. And to then see this negativity, why? And what should have been done? I look seriously at the leadership of the WNBA. And how could you not be prepared for this moment? You've seen it happening in the Big Ten. You've seen it at Iowa. You see these TV ratings.
Instead of scaling production, the league let merchandise shortages become an internet meme. Clark's jersey back orders stretched into 6-month waits. Frustrated fans posted screenshots of out-of-stock notices that trended on X. By midsummer, financial analysts were estimating an $82 million consumer spend halo around Clark. Money that could have rolled directly into league coffers if the product had been on shelves. And the irony? Brennan dug up corporate minutes from an April 2024 marketing meeting that literally asked whether it was too risky to over-associate with one rookie. Too risky?
Like she's been hit with more flagrant fouls than any player ever this year. They tried to come at you when you were writing a story and said, don't ask questions about why people don't like Caitlin Clark. But I'm going to ask you, Christine, why is she polarizing in your opinion? Why do people not embrace the phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark?
The NBA never asked that about LeBron. PGA brass never asked it about Tiger. Yet here was a women's league apparently scared of success. Start with eyeballs. Indiana's season opener against Chicago pulled 3.3 million viewers, an outrated and overlapping MLB game on ESPN, a first for modern women's hoops. 2 months later, when Clark sat with a quad strain, the same matchup dropped to 1.9 million on CBS, and NBA TV broadcasts without her plunged below 350K. Media execs called it the Clark Cliff. Turned to butts and seats. In 2024, the Fever shattered the single-season home attendance record with 340,715 paid, torching a mark that had stood since 2001. League-wide, attendance jumped 48%, and 154 regular season games sold out versus just 45 the year before. 3 crowds north of 20,300 all shared one constant: Clark in the building. Then there's pure cash. Front office sports pegs. Clark's coming Nike signature shoe, slated for 2026, as a potential $150 million business on its own, and that figure doesn't count the Kobe 6 colorways already flipped for 4 figures on StockX. Put bluntly, this rookie prints money. So with metrics screaming jackpot, why was the WNBA acting like success was radioactive? Brennan reserves her sharpest barbs for the decision-makers. Commissioner Engelbert's tone-deaf media tour last autumn, in which she dismissed toxic fan behavior around Clark Angel Reese debates as just passionate engagement, enraged players' union officials who felt the league wouldn't even guard its own star from vitriol. Scheduling fiascos piled up. Fever road games were moved from college gyms to NBA arenas only after demand crashed ticket servers. Los Angeles, Washington, Atlanta, Dallas, and Chicago all executed venue swaps mid-season, costing the league hundreds of thousands in reprint fees and leaving local fans scrambling. Merch misfires were even worse. A single hour after the 2024 draft, Fanatics had blown through every Clark jersey size. Nike's restock missed its own delivery window by months, and Dick's Sporting Goods quietly changed its product page to ships after October 25. In the meantime, knockoffs flooded eBay. And here's the stinger. Brennan unearthed a May 2024 internal slide deck projecting Clark-driven demand far above supply, only to watch execs slash the forecast in half because women's jerseys historically don't move. Legacy bias became self-inflicted scarcity. If front office blunders were comical, the locker room dynamics bordered on tragic. The physicality started early. By June 1st, Chicago's Chennedy Carter had shoulder-checked Clark to the floor in a play later upgraded to a flagrant. Sky teammates followed suit in a pattern Sports Illustrated calculated at 14% of all league flagrants originating from one roster against one rookie. Overall, Clark absorbed 5 flagrants in 2024, a staggering 17% share of every dirty hit the WNBA recorded. ESPN clips of those fouls racked up 60 million views, and talk shows turned them into a running headline. Is jealousy ruining the W's golden goose? Players like Diana Taurasi and Cheryl Reeve fired back that Clark needed to earn her stripes, fueling the perception of a generational turf war. All-star voting exposed the divide in numbers. Fans gave Clark a record 1.29 million votes, more than the top 30 players combined 1 year earlier, Yet her fellow athletes ranked her 9th among guards, barely squeaking her into the starting lineup. By midsummer, the jealousy narrative had legs, and Brennan argues leadership's failure to get ahead of it turned routine hard fouls into live-on-air PR disasters. Scratch beneath those hits and you tap a deeper fault line. The WNBA is roughly 74% black. Clark is a white superstar from Iowa, whose fan base skews Midwest suburban, demographics largely absent from women's pro hoops until now. Brennan quotes Dr. Edwards warning the league that mainstream popularity without cultural prep is a recipe for tension. HQ never ran the seminars he suggested, and resentment seeped through cracks already widened by pay gap frustration. Now add the Olympic snub. When USA Basketball left Clark off the Paris roster, talk radio lit up with accusations of cartel politics. AP columnists noted the optics of sidelining the sport's tease draw months before the games, optics Brennan labels self-sabotage in high definition. Instead of harnessing Clark's global magnetism, the league watched her become a lightning rod in the culture wars. Old guard voices lectured her on humility. Social media stans memed the lectures into cartoons. The drama reached a point where even Brennan admitted she'd never seen so much off-court noise swamp on-court action in a team sport. While the veterans fretted, another army moved in. YouTube creators clipped every Clark flagrant, every no-call, every sarcastic Teresi quote. TikTok edits of her 60-foot logo threes hit 14 million views overnight. Legacy columnists sneered that hype is dangerous, but algorithms didn't care. Caitlin Clark became the most searched name in women's sports for 2024. 24, eclipsing Simone Biles, Coco Gauff, and Angel Reese combined. That digital frenzy translated into sponsorships. Google Trends shows a 480% spike in Indiana Fever tickets, the week after Clark's preseason triple-double. Betting markets followed. FanDuel posted WNBA prop lines that outhandled multiple MLB games. ESPN rushed extra cameras to every Fever road date, yet traditional analysts still complained the coverage was too Clark-centric. Brennan argues that schism, new media amplification versus legacy skepticism, became the secret sauce of her book. It highlighted how a league yearning for mainstream love simultaneously turned up its nose at the very ecosystem capable of delivering it. And the cost of that blind spot? Just look at the metrics when Clark sits. During Clark's 5-game injury absence, NBA TV windows featuring the Fever averaged 343K viewers, 40% below the same channel's Clark-led broadcast a week earlier. A CBS primetime slot dropped 30% versus the season opener that had showcased her duel with Angel Reese. Even local Indianapolis radio ratings fell 7% for game night shoulder programming. Arena vibes suffered too. 2 relocated contests still sold well, but didn't sell out. Scalper prices outside Chicago's United Center fell from $275 to $109 in 48 hours once Clark was ruled out. Merch kiosks logged double-digit declines on nights she wore street clothes. Those dips confirmed Brennan's central thesis. The rookie wasn't just a storyline, she was the oxygen mask keeping everyone's revenue breathing. So here we sit, midpoint of Clark's sophomore campaign, staring at $1 billion fork in the road. If the WNBA embraces its unicorn, protects her from cheap shots, stocks its shelves, speaks with one clear voice, women's hoops rockets into a new era where crowds of 20,000 are standard, not shockers. Engelber has already hinted at full-time refs and beefed-up security, and Nike's Spring 2026 signature launch could be the global billboard that vaults the league beyond North America. Or the jealousy, the merch snafus, the leadership ambiguity continue, and Clark's once-in-a-generation spark fizzles under fatigue. Fans will remember the fouls, the empty shelves, the "we weren't prepared" quotes, and corporate sponsors, forever allergic to chaos, will drift toward safer bets. Brennan's final chapter ends on a blunt line. History offered the WNBA a jackpot. Only hubris could fold that hand. The question is whether the league learns before the deck reshuffles. What do you think? Is this epic stumble about envy, incompetence, or something deeper? Sound off in the comments, smash that subscribe button if you love real talk, and ring the bell so you never miss the next drop. Because in our next video, we're digging into the European sneaker deal Clark almost signed, and how it nearly changed the balance of power in women's basketball forever. Stay tuned.